Hi, my name is Nicole Matheny, and we're here today to talk about two of the four topics that were given to us in class. The two topics that I've chosen to talk about are planets and clouds, and within the planets I've chosen three activities that I would do with my students in class. I'm going to do it here today with both of my sons, and my daughter is recording for me. This is Brody and Zane, and my daughter is Darcy. And the first activity that I would have the kids involved in is with the planets. I would supply them with materials, markers, pens, pencils, paper, cardstock of different colors and such, and I would divide them in groups. I have 8 planets. Well, there are 8 planets, so I would divide each group and give them each a planet. And in that planet they have their notebooks that they can refer to on notes that we've already taken, and I would have them create a planet. For example, this is simple, but this is the one that I chose to do. And so if Brody, for example, was in the group with 3 other people, then somebody could write down the notes. They could all get the notes together and share the information. Someone would write it, someone would cut out the planet, and then somebody would be able to, for example, to wear the planet, they could use tape, and we would put it on Brody, for example, and he would come to the front of the class. I would say, okay, planet, you know, whichever group, and he would come over, and then he would have it taped on him, for example. And then a friend of his would be standing, the group would be at the front, and someone would read, you know, the 4th planet from the sun, covered by craters, and then underneath I would have them, on all of theirs, I would have them write, who am I? So Brody, who is your planet?
Mars.
Mars, exactly, but Brody obviously in class wouldn't be answering who his own planet was. I would ask other students to answer that for him. And then I would do the same thing, for example, with Zane. You know, his group, they worked on it, they did the research, somebody wrote it down, somebody's presenting, so they're all there. And it's the 8th planet from the sun, and I have 13 moons, the 3rd largest planet in the solar system, and as again, he would write, who am I? So I would call on one of the students, for example, Brody, do you know who that is? Do you know what planet that is? Darcy, do you know what planet that is? Neptune, very good. And then, so then they would sit down. So that's how I would have them recall the information that they already have in their notebooks and to write it down, just a fun activity, that hands-on activity that they could do. The second activity I have is over here. It would be, for example, in class, it would be on a whiteboard. I would use magnets on the back here, just use simple tape and such, and I would call on the students to come up to the board. For example, Zane, come on up. Which planet would you like to pick, Zane?
I'll do this one.
Okay, so it's the brightest planet in the solar system, the 2nd planet from the sun, the closest to the Earth. Hottest planet in the solar system, has continents, mountains, and craters. It is yellowish white in color. What planet is it, Zane?
That's Venus.
Very good. Very good, thank you, Zane. And then, for example, I would call on somebody else. Brody, for example. Come on up, Brody. Which one would you like to do, Brody? That one is known as the giant of the solar system. Which one, Brody? Which one do you think it is? Giant of the solar system, it's the 5th planet from the sun.
Jupiter.
Jupiter, good. It's the stormiest planet in the solar system. It's one of the gas giants. And he would do that. And so what I would have the class do, obviously, for lack of time right now, we won't go through all of them, but I would call on students who have their hands raised, who know, and have them come up and choose a planet and then match it to the description and or definition. The third activity that I would have my students do is I would have prepared in baggies as such the planets, and the sun is in there, and what I would have them do is put the planets in order according to which one is closest to the sun. So I would have one for each student, and they would just open it up and then order all the planets up. And then what I would have them do after, I would have them raise their hand when they're finished doing that, and I would come over and make sure that it's correct, and then according to their notes they could find which colors the planet are, and then I would have them color in the planets.